Hi everyone, my name is John Wallace. I'm the Senior Continuing Airworthiness Consultant here at Baines Simmons.
And I'm Cain-Jones. I'm a continuing airworthiness consultant at Baines Simmons.
Today we're going to have a little bit of a discussion around competence within our personnel, within the organisation. What is it we need? What is it the best way to look at it? Regulation itself, however, does give us a little bit of guidance. And if we look at it, it gives us 5 key attributes that we have to look in an individual to make an assessment as to whether or not they're competent for the particular role we want to put them in. That numeric, I suppose, that comes with it is a numeric we call SCATE, where we assess an individual against the skills they possess or require, the knowledge they possess or they require, their attitude within the organisation, the training needs or training requirements, and their experience that comes into it.
Do you think there might be a bit more depth in there? So if we think about attitude, for example, someone's integrity, how important is that when we're looking at competence?
I think when we look at attitude, it's probably the most difficult one of the 5 attributes that we've got to make an assessment on. Attitude comes from a lot of different things, a lot of different influences. But one of the key in our industry is the integrity of individuals, the ability to know that someone has done the job correctly, and the honesty that someone has to hold their hand up. We want them to do the job properly. We want them to do it in accordance with all the right documentation, the right processes. And we want them to call stop if something's not right, because that's as important as anything else, if not more important. So therefore, when we're assessing that attitude and that integrity, it's one of the key areas that we need to assess against, absolutely.
And as we look at demographic of people across the aviation industry, for example, in the UK, we know that the number of licensed engineers that are over the age of 40 is 78%. Of those licensed engineers, fewer than 2% of them are female, which is another huge issue. We know some companies have released information saying that in the next 10 years, we need 680,000 more licensed engineers or aircraft engineers worldwide. How do you think this aging demographic and the fact that we need to bring more people into this industry, how do organizations ensure the competence of their staff?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And for years we've relied on this established workforce, these people that have been in 20, 30 years doing this, that have come through the change in the regulations to where we are today. And we've got a lot of experience here, but that has come to the end. We've got a younger generation that are looking to come into the industry. 2 things we talk about: the females. How do we entice them into the industry and make it an attractive business for them? But we've also got to make sure we get the right people with the right qualifications. We can't rely on purely experience anymore. So what we've got to do is we've got to assess these individuals to make sure they're a good fit for our organisation. And the onus, unfortunately, now sits with the organisation to do so.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to do that? It's to look at the role rather than the individual. What do we need in a particular role? What skills do we need? What are the knowledge criteria? And then look at how do we bring someone in with little to no experience and provide them the opportunities to get that training, to encourage them to be in the business so that they can grow and develop, but also give them that opportunity to progress.
Yeah.
You know, an engineer coming in just as a normal mechanic, for say, moving up through supervisor into that certifying staff role. It's really quite important. It gives them a bit of a career progression. And really the onus is now into the organisation to be able to set them up to understand
absolutely.
what we need.
It's on the organisation to allow people to succeed. How do we give people that competence?
Yeah, so I think organisations need to look at the requirements of a particular role. Don't start with the individual, start with the role, and then look at what is it I need to formulate it. What are the skills that are needed? What are the knowledge? What's the attitude of that person that's going to do it? The integrity that you brought up, really, really important. Therefore, what training do we have to provide them with so that we can gain that experience to grow the workforce in that demographic? And we need to do that for every single position within the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good point. And in a future video, we will go further into detail with the SCAPE model. But we'll wrap that up there. And thank you very much. We hope you found that useful. And we'll see you again in the future.
Thank you.